Welcome to the world of solo leveling, a world where ordinary humans awaken incredible powers, fighting monsters that spill through mysterious gates. But not everyone is a hero. Some are weak, and some, like Sung Jinwoo, are the weakest of all. This is the story of the hunter who had nothing, and yet would rise beyond imagination. 10 years ago, gates started appearing all over the world. From them poured monsters of every shape and size, threatening humanity itself. Some humans awakened extraordinary abilities, becoming hunters. Among them, a few became legends, feared and respected for their strength. And then there's Jinwoo, an E-rank hunter, the lowest of the low, not strong, not famous, often injured, even in the simplest raids. Most hunters looked at him with pity or contempt, but Jinwoo had a reason to keep going. His mother was sick, his sister needed care, and each dungeon raid was money that could keep his family alive. Every hunt was a struggle, but giving up was never an option. One morning, Jinwoo joins a group. Heading into what should have been an easy dungeon, the higher-ranked hunters scoff at him, laughing at his worn clothes, his dull dagger, and timid demeanor. Jinwoo says nothing. He's used to it. The dungeon is quiet at first. Dark stone walls, faint echoes, the smell of earth and dampness. They defeat a few weak monsters, and the hunters begin to relax. For Jinwoo, each step is careful, measured, survival first. But then, at the end of the corridor, they discover something strange, a massive stone door, carved with unfamiliar symbols. A sense of unease settles over the group. Even the stronger hunters hesitate. The door doesn't promise treasure or fame. It feels dangerous. The group debates whether to continue. Curiosity and greed win. Slowly, they push the heavy stone doors open, revealing a vast chamber beyond. The room is cathedral-like, silent, lined with towering stone statues. At the center sits a colossal figure, perched on a throne. Its eyes seem to follow every movement, even as it doesn't move. The hunters exchange nervous glances, unsure of what they've stepped into. Jinwoo's heart pounds. He grips his dagger tighter. Every instinct screams. This is no ordinary dungeon, but stepping back is not an option. They've already crossed the threshold as the hunters venture deeper. Examining the strange statues, they notice inscriptions on the walls, commandments or warnings, written in an ancient language. The air grows heavier, oppressive. One wrong move could mean death. Jinwoo swallows hard, aware that his life and the lives of others hang by a thread. What began as a routine raid has become a nightmare. And there, in the dim light of the chamber, he realizes this dungeon is nothing like anything he's faced before. The hunters step into the vast chamber, a cathedral of stone. Towering statues line the walls, silent, watching. At the far end, a colossal figure sits upon a throne, its eyes unblinking, cold, godlike. Suddenly, behind them, the stone door slams shut. There is no escape. Panic spreads through the group. What is this place? Mutters Lee Sung-ho, a B-rank hunter. Some kind of trap, says Han Seojin, nervously gripping his sword. And then, glowing letters appear on the walls. 3 commandments. Worship God. Praise God. Prove your faith. Confusion fills the room. No one moves. The air is thick with fear. Until Lee Sung-ho takes a trembling step forward and kneels before the colossal statue. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. The other hunters exchange uncertain glances. Maybe it's enough. Maybe this will satisfy whatever is watching. But then, The statues around the chamber begin to move, eyes blazing, weapons raised, and the first attack falls. Stone blades swing down. Hunters scream. Han Seojin is cut in half. The floor splashes with blood. Jinwoo freezes, heart pounding. And in a single, instinctive motion, he drops to his knees, hands gripping his dagger tightly, eyes wide with terror. The statues pause, then redirect their attacks. Those who hesitated or ignored the command fall. By luck and instinct alone, Jinwoo survives. Lee Sung-ho is thrown against a pillar, barely alive. The survivors stare at each other, trembling. Some sob quietly, some gasp for air. Silence returns, temporarily. The wall glows again. The second commandment appears. Praise God. The statues holding instruments begin to move. A haunting melody fills the air. And with each note, death follows. Hunters hesitate, unsure what to do. Kim Hyun-woo, a C-rank, freezes mid-step, and a stone hammer crushes him instantly. Jinwoo's voice cracks. Sing! Clap! Praise him! Now! The survivors scramble, voices trembling, hands shaking. They mimic Jinwoo's frantic movements. One by one, they survive. For the first time, the weakest hunter guides the others. The others' lives now depend on him. But then, the wall glows a final time. The third commandment appears. Prove your faith. The colossal statue rises from its throne. Its eyes glow crimson. Its footsteps shake the temple. The hunters panic. They flee. They scream. But there is no escape. The god moves only toward those who run. Jinwoo notices this pattern. He shouts, "Face it! Don't run!" A few hunters stop in their tracks. They follow Jinwoo's lead, barely surviving each strike. Others fall, one by one. Crushed, slashed, gone. Finally, only a handful remain. Broken, bleeding, desperate. Then, a faint light flickers at the far end of the chamber. A narrow crack. The door, slowly opening. Then, fire erupts across the floor. A glowing circle forms. The survivors huddle inside, trapped together. Jinwoo realizes the truth. The trial, it's not just about facing the god. We have to stay inside the circle. The statues stand still, watching. Every step closer to the edge, every attempt to leave, makes them move. A hunter panics. He bolts toward the crack of light at the far end of the chamber. The moment he crosses the line, the statues take a single step forward. Weapons raise. The circle shrinks. The survivors scream. They understand now. Leaving means death for everyone. The colossal god's gaze fixes on them, its shadow stretching across the firelit floor. The group trembles. "Someone has to stay," Jinwoo whispers, "or none of us will make it out." Without a second thought, he steps forward, alone, facing the temple god, dagger in hand. "Go," he says. "Run. I'll hold it here." The survivors don't look back. The door closes slowly behind them. Jinwoo, the weakest hunter alive, remains behind. The statues close in. The god raises its hand. A shadow falls over Jinwoo. He braces, not for glory, not for pride, but for the chance to let someone else live. The god's hand descends, and darkness swallows him. The weakest hunter had given everything, or so it seemed, because in that final moment, something stirred. A voice in the void, a strange power awakening. A glowing blue screen appeared before his fading eyes. "You have fulfilled the conditions. You have met the requirements. You have been selected as a player." Jinwoo's body trembled, his heart slowing, his mind slipping away. Then another message. "Will you accept? Warning. If you refuse, your heart will stop immediately." His lips quivered. He had no strength left, no hope left, and yet, he wanted to live. "Yes," the word escaped him, and the system responded. "Player has accepted. Commencing system integration. Light engulfed him. The pain faded. The darkness gave way to something new. Sung Jinwoo, the weakest hunter, had just become the world's first player, and that was only the beginning. A new path had opened, not as a hunter, but as something entirely different. Jinwoo Sung opens his eyes, a white ceiling. The sterile smell of disinfectant, the stiff feel of hospital sheets. He's alive. He sits up, his body feeling strangely refreshed. No pain. His mind clearer than it should be. His instincts scream that something is wrong. He looks down. Both of his legs are there, fully healed. The memory of a stone shield severing his limb. Was it just a dream? Before he can find an answer, two men in black suits enter his room. Agents from the Hunter Association's surveillance team. They have questions about the double dungeon, about the temple, about the statues. Their theory? He must have had a second awakening. A reawakening. It's the only explanation for how anyone survived. They test his mana level. The result? A pitiful 10. Lower than even a standard E-rank hunter. The agent's interest vanishes. They leave as quickly as they came. He is alone, truly alone. And that's when he sees it. Words, floating in the air before him. You have unread messages. The messages trigger the flood of memories. It was no dream. The hidden double dungeon. The giant statue that vaporized hunters with a glance. The stone guards that moved faster than the eye could see. He and a handful of others had survived by obeying the commandments of the temple. Worship, praise. But for the final test, to prove their faith, they were betrayed. His so-called comrades, consumed by fear, abandoned them, leaving only Jinwoo, the healer Ju-hee, and their leader, Song, who had already lost an arm. It was a death sentence. Jinwoo made a choice. He would be the sacrifice. He gave Song and Ju-hee a chance to escape, and face the closing circle of stone statues alone. A spear ran him through. He was broken, bleeding out on the cold temple floor. As a stone sword descended for the final blow, he wished for just one more chance, and time stopped. A voice echoed in his dying mind. You have fulfilled all the requirements to complete Secret Quest, Courage of the Weak. You have acquired the qualifications to be a player. Will you accept? There was no choice. In his mind, he screamed yes. Congratulations on becoming a player. A flash of light. And then, nothing. Until he woke up here. Now, he understands. This is his second chance. But it comes with conditions. He opens the messages. One congratulates him. The other is a daily quest. Push-ups 100 times. Sit-ups 100 times. Squats 100 times. Running 10 kilometers. It seems absurd. A joke. He dismisses it. Exhausted, he goes to sleep, hoping the nightmare is over. He was wrong. At exactly midnight, the world dissolves. The hospital room vanishes into sand. He's thrown into a vast, endless desert under a black, starless sky. And the sand in front of him explodes. A poison-toothed giant desert centipede erupts from the ground, as tall as a building, and then another, and another. A penalty quest flashes before his eyes. Survive 4 hours. For 4 agonizing hours, Jinwoo runs. He runs for his life, chased by nightmares. Pushed beyond all human limits, he unlocks new skills out of sheer desperation. Dash and willpower. And then, it's over. He collapses back onto the hard floor of his hospital room, coughing up sand, every muscle screaming in protest. A final message appears. You have completed the penalty quest. Rewards have been delivered. The weakness is gone. The fear is fading. Jinwoo Sung has survived his first day as a player. The world's weakest hunter has died, and something new is about to rise. The daily quest notification appeared in his mind. He sat up quickly, relieved he still had plenty of time before midnight. The floating text demanded push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and a 10-kilometer run. The same routine as before. This again. He began his task with precise movements, a soft chime echoing in his head with each completed repetition. 7. 8. He now understood why his previous efforts hadn't counted. The system demanded perfection. After 100 push-ups, he collapsed onto the floor, breathing heavily. Just sit-ups and squats left, and the run. One by one, he completed each exercise, the system chiming its approval each time. His lungs burned, and his legs felt like lead, but he pushed through the pain, driven by the memory of a desert filled with giant centipedes. As he crossed the threshold of his room, a final chime echoed in his mind. He had done it. He dropped to his knees, gasping for air. Made it. Another notification appeared. Rewards were being delivered. Check. A full recovery, 3 ability points, and a mystery box. Without hesitation, he accepted. Fatigue vanished. His racing heart calmed. He felt refreshed, as if he'd just woken from perfect sleep. A status screen appeared before his eyes. Stats. He was still level 1. All his stats were at 10, but he had 3 points to assign. He knew immediately where they would go. Strength. He needed to see tangible change. 3 points to strength. The number ticked up from 10 to 13. He walked to his bed and gripped the frame. It was definitely easier to lift. But had the bed changed? Or had he? He wished he had tested his strength first. Then he remembered. The rewards from his penalty quest. The one he had almost died completing. He focused, pulling up the old notification. Another 3 ability points awaited him. Add 3 points to strength. His strength stat jumped to 16. He turned back to the bed, gripping the frame once more. It really works. I'm stronger. A wave of exhilaration washed over him. He started testing his new strength on everything in the room. It was time to go. He had lingered too long. His fingers closed around a cold, metallic object in his pocket. The gold key from the mystery box. A key that promised a dungeon. First, I need to figure out what you're all about. After completing his discharge paperwork, his first stop was the Hunters Association to request a new phone. When told it would take 2 weeks, he decided to wait. No one ever called him anyway. The key's information appeared in green letters. Dungeon key. It could be used at Exit 3 of Hapjeong subway station. Though dungeons held painful memories, he steeled himself. He could take a quick peek and run if necessary. With his daily jogging, he was confident in his escape ability. Arriving at the station, he used the key. It vanished as he stepped through, and the entrance sealed shut behind him with an invisible wall. People passed by, vanishing at the barrier, completely unaware of his trapped state. A message flashed. You cannot leave. You must either kill the boss or use a teleportation stone. The station had transformed into a jungle. Vines covered the walls, and the stench of rot hung heavy. He summoned his steel sword from inventory, its familiar weight comforting. He descended cautiously, his heightened perception alerting him to a waiting predator. Purposely turning his back, he triggered the attack. A huge wolf burst through a display window, aiming for his neck. Reacting with new reflexes, he swung his sword, slicing through the beast's jaw. As it writhed, he finished it. A notification confirmed the kill. But his celebration was cut short as 2 more lichens emerged. As one leaped, he realized his sword was stuck. With no time to free it, he threw a punch. To his astonishment, the lichen's head exploded. He stared at his fist, dumbfounded. His strength stat yielded unbelievable power. Another notification chimed. You have leveled up. He was no longer level 1. Excited, he checked his status screen. All his stats had increased, and leveling had granted him 5 ability points, more than a daily quest reward. He could now grow stronger by hunting. The lost sword no longer mattered. He grinned at the remaining lichen. I'll beat every last one of you to a pulp and leave only your fangs. He leaped toward the pack, new power coursing through him. He moved through the station, clearing the basement floors of monsters. With each kill, his level climbed. He found items in their stomachs, like lichen fang that he could sell for gold. He earned the title Wolf Assassin, boosting his abilities against animal types. He found a teleportation stone to leave, but chose to press on. He had done a lifetime's worth of retreating. On the third floor, he faced the dungeon boss. A giant snake with impenetrable blue scales shot from black water. Their battle was fierce. The snake shattered his sword, forcing him to rely on bare hands. He dodged lightning-fast strikes, using agility to get close enough for a headlock. The snake thrashed, smashing him into walls, but he held on until he crushed its skull. The rewards were immense. He gained 2 levels immediately. From the boss, he acquired a venomous dagger and a powerful but dangerous poison. As the boss died, the dungeon reverted to a normal, empty subway station. He emerged to find a city under attack. A gate had opened nearby. Soldiers and police were everywhere. Seeing a stone golem threatening hunters, he acted without thinking. He threw his broken sword with all his might, channeling immense strength into the throw. The projectile shattered the golem's head, saving the hunters. He slipped away before anyone could identify him. A single notification echoing, "You have leveled up." Returning home, he checked his status. He was now level 18. His strength was 48, and other stats had grown significantly. He had a useful new dagger, gold, and the knowledge that he could grow stronger by hunting. Most importantly, he had confirmation that his new power was real. He was no longer the weakest hunter. He was a player in a game only he could see, and he was just beginning to learn the rules. Jinwoo stared at the bank statement, the numbers a stark reminder of his circumstances. The 800,000 won in his account was a fleeting comfort. After transferring 500,000 for rent, only 300,000 would remain to last the entire month. His mother's hospital bills and his sister's future tuition loomed large in his mind. The life insurance from a hunter's death was no longer an option. He had a reason to live, and now, a means to truly fight. Scouring the hunter forums for quick work, a posting caught his eye. Urgent! Hunters of any rank welcome. The pay was 2 million won for a single day's work, no share of the spoils required. It was a fortune to him. He made the call, and the leader, a man named Dongsuk Hwang, readily accepted him. "Just help us meet the quota," Dongsuk had said, his voice dripping with false warmth. Jinwoo knew he was being used as a placeholder, but he didn't care. He needed the money. The raid was on a C-rank gate located in an abandoned construction site. The squad, 8 hardened veterans, moved with a cohesion that spoke of years of shared experience. They were accompanied by another temp, a wealthy and naive young man named Jinho Yu. The hunters regarded the two of them with barely concealed disdain, useful idiots for their enterprise. From the moment they stepped into the unnaturally dark and silent dungeon, Jinwoo's heightened perception tingled with danger. He was the one who spotted the insect ambush from above, his sharp warning saving the party from a bloody initiation. The squad's gratitude was tinged with a new wariness. The E-ranker had just proven himself unexpectedly useful. Their discovery of the boss's lair changed everything. The cavern was dominated not by the slumbering, house-sized spider, but by a glittering wall of mana stones worth hundreds of millions of won. Greed filled the air, thick and palpable. The plan was unveiled with clumsy theatrics. Dongsuk claimed they needed to retrieve mining tools, ordering Jinwoo and Jinho to stay behind and watch the sleeping beast. It was a transparent lie, a death sentence. As the squad retreated, Jinwoo saw the truth in their eyes. They were lizards, ready to cut their own tails to survive. He accepted their betrayal calmly. This was no longer a death sentence. It was a private training ground. Minutes later, the entrance exploded shut, plunging them into darkness with the stirring spider. As Jinho panicked, Jinwoo assessed his opponent. Its armor was too tough for blunt force, its acidic venom lethal. But to his eyes, its movements were sluggish. He activated Dash, and the world slowed around him. What followed was not a battle, but a systematic dismantling. He became a phantom, weaving through a forest of stabbing legs. His dagger, Kasaka's venom fang, found its mark again and again in the creature's eyes, the draining venom steadily sapping its life force. The spider's death throes were violent, but futile. When it finally lay still, the system's chimes were a sweet reward. He had grown stronger once more, but the true prize lay within. As Jinwoo examined the carcass, he noticed multiple glimmers deep within the spider's stomach. He carefully cut it open, and a cascade of half-digested insect carcasses spilled out. And within those carcasses, a fortune glittered. More than 10 essence stones, harvested from the magic beasts the spider had consumed. Some were small and partially dissolved, but most were intact. Along with the C-rank stone from the spider itself, it was enough to cover his family's expenses for a year. A wave of profound relief washed over him. He cleared the rubble from the entrance. The path to freedom was open. Jinho looked at him not with fear, but with awe, the word boss, a title spoken with newfound reverence. But as they stepped out from the boss chamber, they found their path blocked by the very hunters who had betrayed them. Dong-suk and his entire squad stood with weapons drawn, their friendly masks gone, replaced by cold, hard expressions. Their eyes flickered from the cleared entrance to Jinwoo, then to the dead spider behind him. Shock and fury warred on their faces. Dong-suk's gaze settled on Jinho, a new, calculating look in his eyes. "Change of plans," he announced. "We did some research. Your father is Myung-hun Yu of Yujin Construction." He pointed his sword at Jinwoo. "Kill Jinwoo Sung. Become our accomplice, and you walk out of here alive. We'll even make it worth your while. If not," he gestured to his armed squad, "we kill you both." Jinho stood frozen, his face pale. He looked at Jinwoo, then at the hunters surrounding them. His sword trembled in his hand. Dong-suk sneered. "What's the matter? A D-ranker afraid of some E-rank trash? Don't tell me you've developed a conscience?" Jinho's eyes darted between Jinwoo and the encircling hunters. The air grew thick with tension. Finally, with a deep breath, Jinho made his choice. He stepped forward, raising his sword, not at Jinwoo, but beside him, facing the traitors. "You're all monsters," Jinho declared, his voice shaking but firm. Dong-suk's face twisted in fury. "Fine. Gyu-hwan, kill the E-ranker first." The mage, Gyu-hwan, grinned. A blinding ball of light gathered in his palm and fired directly at Jinwoo. The explosion threw Jinwoo against the wall, burying him in rubble. Jinho screamed, "Boss!" Dong-suk and his squad advanced, their weapons aimed at the now terrified Jinho. They believed the threat was neutralized. But under the rubble, Jinwoo opened his eyes. His health had dropped significantly. And then, a new, glitching message burned in his vision. "Urgent quest. Defeat the enemies. Defeat them all and ensure your safety. Fail and your heart will stop. Number of enemies to defeat, 8. A cold, focused calm settled over Jinwoo. The system wasn't asking. It was commanding. And for the first time, Jinwoo agreed completely with its goal. He pushed. Rocks and dust exploded outward as he rose from the debris. His clothes were torn, but his body thrummed with power. The squad stared in disbelief. Gyu-hwan stammered, How? My spell hit him directly." Jinho's face transformed from despair to hope. "Boss!" Dong-suk's shock turned to rage. "You just don't know when to die. Everyone, kill him!" Jinwoo didn't wait. He activated dash and became a blur of motion. He moved through the hunters like a ghost, disarming and disabling them with precise, brutal efficiency. Bones cracked, swords clattered to the ground. In less than 10 seconds, the entire squad lay defeated. Jinwoo stood over Dong-suk, who clutched a shattered arm. "You wanted what happens in the dungeon to stay in the dungeon," Jinwoo stated coldly. "It will." Then he broke his neck. He turned to a stunned Jinho. "Let's go." As they walked away, Jinho kept glancing back at the defeated hunters, then at Jinwoo with something between terror and worship. The weakest hunter was gone. A new power had arrived. The first battle against fellow hunters is won, but the consequences are just beginning. Jinwoo has embraced his role as the player, and a greater darkness begins to stir within him. The immediate threat is over. The urgent quest is complete. 8 hunters lie dead, not by magic beasts, but by the hand of the man they tried to sacrifice. Jinwoo Sung stands victorious, but the air is thick with the weight of what he's just done. And one person, Jinho Yu has witnessed it all. Jinwoo observes the terrified young man. He understands that fear is a powerful tool for control. His voice is cold and devoid of emotion. Why should I spare you? The effect is immediate. Jinho flinches as if struck. Desperate, his mind races for a solution. If you need money, I'll tell my fath. Jinwoo cuts him off with a dark scowl. He has been poor his entire life, but he would never stoop to ransom. To do so would make him no different from the scum he just defeated. Is that how you see me? I'm so sorry, Jinho stammers. As Jinho looks at Jinwoo's hard expression, his perception twists. He's convinced Jinwoo is a high-level false ranker, a killer who hunts in dungeons. But then he remembers Jinwoo meticulously searching the spider's stomach for essence stones, and he has an epiphany. He wasn't being greedy. He was collecting a rightfully earned fee. Emboldened by this new theory, Jinho makes his real proposal. Boss, I'll give you all the profit from this dungeon if you spare my life. This piqued Jinwoo's interest. Jinho quickly lays out his plan. Don't you think people would be suspicious if you were the sole survivor and took all the rewards? But if we both leave alive, the stones are legally mine. No one would suspect you. You saved me. So the money is rightfully yours, no? He emphasizes the word rightfully. And Jinwoo has to admit, the kid isn't wrong. It's the safest way to claim the rewards. Fine, Jinwoo concedes. Jinho perks up, his respect growing, but Jinwoo's face becomes an expressionless mask once more. But how can I trust you? This is the core of it. He needs Jinho's full cooperation to avoid future trouble. How can I betray you? You saved my life, Jinho insists, earnest. Right on cue, the dungeon shudders violently. They are out of time. Pack up all the essence stones. We're leaving the dungeon, Jinwoo orders. Thank you, boss, Jinho replies, giving a deep, relieved bow. As Jinho scrambles to collect the loot, Jinwoo searches Dongsuk's pockets, finding his wallet and the 2 million won he was promised. Thanks for the money, he says quietly to the dead man. With that, Jinwoo turns and walks away. Jinho, clutching the bag of stones, looks up and finds himself alone with the corpses. Boss! He yelps in a panic. His face pales once more, and he runs, desperate not to be left behind in the dark. An alliance, born from fear and a profound misunderstanding, has been forged in the depths of the dungeon. Soon after, a member of the Hunters Association's surveillance team arrived to investigate the deaths. The investigator, a strict-looking woman, immediately found the situation suspicious. So all the C-rank hunters were killed, but a D-ranker and an E-ranker survived? She asked, her eyes narrowing. But her suspicion vanished the moment she spotted Jinho's equipment. Her eyes lit up with recognition. Oh my! This is the newest sword from Maya Incorporated, and a Royal Series shield, she exclaimed, instantly impressed. Seeing the 700 million won sword and 500 million won shield, a new theory formed in her mind. Of course, a hunter with such expensive gear could survive where others fell. The E-rank hunter must have just hidden. The case was closed. With the investigator gone, Jinho bowed and politely handed the bag of essence stones to Jinwoo. Good work, boss. Here are the essence stones. Jinwoo took the bag, his mind racing as he calculated its immense value. He did his best to contain his excitement. Later that night, Jinwoo finally checked his progress. He summoned his stat screen, his eyes immediately going to the 10 ability points from the urgent quest. Without hesitation, he invested 7 into agility and 3 into perception, pushing his capabilities even further. 3 days later, the scent of fried chicken filled Jinwoo's apartment. His sister Gina came home, immediately suspicious of her usually stingy brother's sudden generosity. Did something good happen? She asked. Yes. His bank balance had exploded from 800,000 won to over 180 million after selling the essence stones. But the celebration took a strange turn. As Jinwoo drank a beer, a system message flashed. A harmful substance has been detected. Detoxing has been activated. The alcohol was instantly neutralized. He couldn't get drunk. Puzzled, He retreated to his room and dug through his old system messages. He found it, the reward for the very first secret quest, Courage of the Weak. It was a powerful blessing that made him immune to all diseases, poisons, and debuffs. His mind raced. If he was immune to all poisons, what about the Kasaka's venom gland? The A-rank item that offered a 20% damage reduction buff at the cost of 35 strength points. He drank the deadly poison in one gulp. A harmful substance has been detected. Detoxing has been activated. As he celebrated his new power, the home phone rang. Gina handed it to him. It's some guy named Jinho Yu. Jinwoo took the phone. Jinho's eager voice came through, asking to meet in person. After everything that happened in the dungeon, he still wanted to see Jinwoo again. He was, without a doubt, a unique individual. Jinho's persistence led him to a cafe. He finally revealed his plan. He needed to complete 20 raids to get a guildmaster's license. His father's company, Yujin Construction, was forming its own guild, and Jinho wanted to prove he was worthy of leading it and not his more successful older brother. His offer was staggering. In exchange for Jinwoo's help on the remaining 19 raids, Jinho would give him the deed to the guild's headquarters, a building valued at over 30 trillion won. Jinwoo saw the perfect opportunity. He agreed, but on one radical condition. For every raid, it would be only the two of them, no other hunters. Jinho was horrified at the danger, but Jinwoo persuaded him. If they could clear 19 C-rank dungeons as a duo with 0 casualties, it would be the ultimate proof of Jinho's leadership and competence. The deal was struck. Jinwoo gained a path to power level in dungeons without witnesses, and Jinho gained a partner who could make his dream a reality. Both left the cafe satisfied. A new partnership officially begun. Jinwoo returned home. His mind was on the system. He had completed his daily quest earlier, but had delayed accepting the rewards. Now, in the silence of his apartment, he opened the quest screen. But as his eyes scanned the completed tasks, his brow furrowed. Something was off. The screen didn't just show completion, it showed excess. Running 10 kilometers. Completed. 11 out of 10. His first thought was a system error, but Jinwoo had learned that nothing with the system was arbitrary. A spark of intuition ignited within him. What if this wasn't a glitch, but a feature? Driven by his instinct, he decided to test his theory. He dropped to the floor and began a new set of push-ups, his eyes locked on the counter. Ping! You have completed 1 push-up. Push-ups 100 times. Completed, 101 out of 100. Ping! You have completed 1 push-up. Push-ups 100 times. Completed, 102 out of 100. His heart began to beat faster. This was no mistake. He pushed on, his enhanced strength making the exercise easy. The counter climbed steadily. 150, 170, 190. Then, on his 200th push-up, it stopped. No matter how many more he did, the number remained frozen at 200. He immediately moved to sit-ups and squats, finding the same hard limit. Without a second thought, Jinwoo was out the door and running through the night-cloaked streets. He pushed for 9 more kilometers, his body a well-oiled machine. The moment his foot crossed the final meter, a chime echoed in his mind. Ping! You have completed Hidden Quest. Strength Training. A triumphant smile spread across his face. His hunch had been correct. The rewards were staggering. A full recovery, and most importantly, +3 to all of his ability points. It was a massive, across-the-board power-up. But the final reward was a choice. A blessed mystery box that would give him an item he wanted, or a cursed mystery box that would give him an item he needed. After careful thought, Jinwoo chose the blessed box. He ripped it open to find a gleaming gold key. Ping. Item. The Demon Castle's key. Acquisition difficulty. SNS rank key. The danger was unimaginable, a level of threat that could wipe out entire regions. But unlike his last key, this one would allow him to enter and retreat at his own discretion. He wouldn't be trapped. This was the challenge he craved. The path to new heights was now open. Jinwoo made his decision. He would see the demon's castle for himself, and that's how a simple E-rank hunter went from being the weakest to holding the key to an S-rank dungeon in his hands. Jinwoo stood outside Disung Tower. At night, the empty streets had a creepy vibe. Pulling his hood forward to avoid cameras, he used the key and found himself in a completely different world. The modern skyscraper was gone, replaced by a massive medieval spire covered in blackish-red flames. This dungeon was different. The key remained in his pocket, and a quick test confirmed he could leave anytime he wanted. He wasn't trapped. This was a crucial advantage. As Jinwoo approached, the sound of flickering flames grew louder. But before he could even consider entering, he sensed a powerful presence. A massive black animal was curled up, sleeping near the door. Jinwoo quietly summoned Kasaka's Venom Fang. The creature sniffed the air and got to its feet. Its 3 heads swiveled toward Jinwoo. Hell's Gatekeeper Cerberus. The name glowed in threatening red letters. This was a high-level monster. But Jinwoo wasn't the same hunter he used to be. His heightened perception told him he could take it. Cerberus rushed at him with shocking speed. Jinwoo slid underneath it, barely avoiding its sharp teeth. As the 3 heads snapped at him, a notification appeared. The buff for title, Wolf Assassin, has been activated. His abilities increased by 40%. He felt his body get lighter. But even with the buff, he could barely block the monster's relentless attacks. He tried to use his murderous intent skill, but a message flashed. The debuff had been cancelled out by the opponent's high resistance. Then, Cerberus's whip-like tail, tipped with fire, cracked down. Jinwoo ducked, but the move left him off balance. Seizing the opening, one of Cerberus's heads bit down on his left shoulder. He stabbed his dagger between the creature's eyes. But again, the paralysis and drain debuffs were negated by its high resistance. He managed to escape, but his left shoulder was torn up, his arm unmovable. The situation grew even more dire. Cerberus's eyes began to glow red. Ping! Hell's Gatekeeper Cerberus has used skill, Rage. All of Cerberus's abilities will be increased by 2 times for 3 minutes. What? Jinwoo cried out. A monster could use a skill? Enraged, Cerberus charged. Before Jinwoo could react, it was on him. All 3 mouths bit down simultaneously on his neck, side, and thigh, slamming him against the castle door. Wham! His HP plummeted. HP, 411/3, 602. But he had been counting the seconds. 178, 179, 180. The 3 minutes of its rage skill were over. It was now or never. Accept reward 1. He activated the full recovery reward he had saved from his daily quest. Blue light enveloped him, healing his wounds completely. With his body restored, Jinwoo wrapped his arm around Cerberus's neck and drove his dagger into its throat, stabbing over and over. The monster struggled, but the victor had been decided. You have defeated Hell's Gatekeeper Cerberus. You have leveled up. He had gained 4 levels from the single, brutal fight. As he caught his breath, he collected his rewards: the castle door key, Cerberus's fangs, and a remarkable item, the Warden's collar. After debating if it's a good idea, he put it on. The spiked collar vanished, but its effect was immediate. His agility stat jumped to a staggering 80. He now held the key to the castle itself. But he had barely survived the gatekeeper. He looked up at the flaming tower, its top shrouded in fog. He wouldn't know what was inside until he went in. He shook his head. Not yet. He would withdraw for today, but he would be back. After days of waiting for Jinho's strike squad to form, Jinwoo grew restless. No freelance work would take an E-rank hunter. His only option was to wait for a call from the Hunters Association that never seemed to come. A trip to the supermarket to fill his empty fridge led to an unexpected encounter. He was found by Mr. Song, the veteran hunter from the Double Dungeon. Mr. Song was shocked and relieved to see Jinwoo, especially his fully healed leg. But Jinwoo noticed Mr. Song's left sleeve was empty. He had lost his arm in the dungeon. Despite this, Mr. Song brushed off the injury, and instead bowed deeply to Jinwoo, thanking him sincerely for saving the lives of those who survived the temple. Their conversation was cut short by a phone call. Mr. Song tried to hide it, but Jinwoo's heightened perception heard everything. It was the association, summoning hunters for a raid. When Mr. Song tried to leave alone to protect him, Jinwoo stopped him. His mind was made up. "I'm coming too," Jinwoo stated, his tone leaving no room for argument. The wait was over. Jinwoo and Mr. Song arrived at the raid location, a gate near a residential area blocked off by police. The gathering of hunters was small. Among them were two familiar faces, Kim and another hunter who had left Jinwoo in the double dungeon. They avoided his gaze, clearly ashamed. Jinwoo met Kim's nervous glance with a cold stare, and the man quickly backed away. The reunion was interrupted by Juhee, who rushed over and hugged Jinwoo, relieved to see him safe and his leg miraculously healed. Her joy was cut short by the arrival of a van. From it emerged 3 hunters in prisoner uniforms, escorted by a man in a suit. The association employee explained they were probational prisoners, convicted hunters reducing their sentences by raiding. The man in the suit was Tae-sik Kang, a B-rank hunter from the surveillance team, there to supervise. While the other hunters were reassured by the B-rank presence, Jinwoo felt an immediate unease. His heightened perception sensed hostility from the group. He quietly urged Juhee not to join the raid. She refused, insisting she would go if he did. Knowing how stubborn she could be, Jinwoo reluctantly agreed, confident he could protect her. After Tae-sik unlocked the prisoner's handcuffs, Mr. Song led the way into the gate. Jinwoo entered with Juhee holding tightly to his sleeve, her trauma from their last ordeal still fresh. The atmosphere was thick with tension, and Jinwoo's instincts screamed that something was very wrong. The dungeon was filled with weak goblins. For Jinwoo, they were no challenge at all. Even holding back his power, his skill was visibly superior, leaving Chiyul and Juhee impressed. But a constant, frustrating message echoed in his mind. Experience will not increase because the enemy's level is too low. The raid was a waste of time. He couldn't level up, and the essence stones were worthless. He realized there was no reason to stay with the association if this was the work they offered. The party reached a fork in the path and decided to split up. Guided by his perception, Jinwoo led his group down the left tunnel, sensing the boss lay at its end. As they fought through more goblins, human screams suddenly echoed from another tunnel. They rushed toward the sound and found Tae-sik Kang, the B-rank supervisor, kneeling and covered in blood. "Be careful! Those bastards might still be here," he gasped, collapsing. Juhee rushed to heal him, but as she reached out, Tae-sik sprang up, his hand charged with magic, aiming for her neck. His attack was stopped inches from its target. Jinwoo held Tae-sik's wrist in an iron grip. Shocked, Tae-sik tried to pummel Jinwoo with his other fist, but Jinwoo dodged and blocked with ease. The two erupted into a blistering exchange of blows, moving at a speed that left Chiyul and Juhee stunned. Jinwoo was fighting a B-rank hunter to a standstill. Jinwoo glared. "The blood on your clothes. That's not yours, is it?" "That's right," Tae-sik admitted, shaking out his wrists. "This is the blood of those bastards." He was amazed. He hadn't expected to find a hunter of this caliber here. His curiosity overpowered him. "Who are you? What's your rank?" Gripping his dagger tightly, Jinwoo answered. "Jinwoo Sung, E rank." Tae-sik's mind reeled. The speed, the power. This was no E-rank hunter. Yet the man had no reason to lie. Not here. The pieces clicked into a damning conclusion. A second awakening. He remembered the rumors buzzing through the association about a recently reawakened hunter, one they had failed to properly identify. Of all the wretched luck, Tae-sik seethed internally. He had meticulously vetted the hunter roster for this raid, and this one variable, this anomaly, had slipped through. A cold smile touched his lips. This unforeseen complication would demand a significant bonus from his employer. He licked his lips, the taste of promised wealth momentarily overshadowing the danger standing before him. The memory surfaced with perfect clarity. A few days earlier, in a quiet cafe, Tae-sik had met with a middle-aged man. The man had begged for a meeting, his desperation palpable. He spoke in a haunted mumble. "I've heard that what happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon." Before Tae-sik could question him, the man slid a bank statement across the table. The balance read 2,000,000,000 won. "Why are you giving me this?" Tae-sik asked, his suspicion growing. The man's story tumbled out. His daughter was violated, and then took her own life. His wife hospitalized from the shock. The monster responsible was one of the probational prisoners under Taesik's supervision, set to walk free in a few years. My daughter hung herself. How can I sleep at night knowing that? The man's face was a mask of sorrow and rage. He bowed his head. I beg you, sir. A long silence stretched between them. Taesik leaned back, a slow, predatory grin spreading across his face. Do you know why I joined the surveillance team? He began, his voice a low purr. A B-rank hunter like me could have any guild, but I enjoy fighting humans much more than magic beasts. He let the statement hang in the air, watching the hope drain from the man's face before delivering his final blow. This money, Taesik said, tapping the bank statement. Plus an extra billion to get rid of the other hunters. Can you do that? Back in the present, Taesik's mind raced. A reawakened hunter changed everything. The price for this job had just skyrocketed. He met Jinwoo's unwavering gaze. This was a truly challenging opponent. In a calculated move, Taesik tried to talk his way out. He justified killing the prisoners, calling them animals who deserved to be put down. I don't want to kill you guys, he lied smoothly. Can you just forget what happened today? Jinwoo saw through the deception instantly. You should have said all that before you attacked us. Taesik's friendly facade vanished. So, it would be a fight after all. His eyes turned feral as he assessed his opponent. The dagger in Jinwoo's hand was noted and dismissed. An assassin type, just like him. But a rookie, reliant on his new strength. Taesik would crush him with experience. I'll teach you a thing or two, Taesik sneered, producing his own knife. Can you do this? With a flicker, he vanished. The stealth skill erased him completely, sight, sound, and scent. It was the ultimate tool of an assassin. He reappeared in a flash, his knife aimed perfectly for Jinwoo's exposed back. The fight was over. Clank! Sparks flew as Jinwoo's dagger met his, blocking the lethal strike with impossible precision. The stealth skill broke. Taesik's eyes widened in shock. Jinwoo's face was a blank mask, but his voice was cold and clear. Finally, it's here. A spike of pure fear, cold and sharp, pierced through Taesik's confidence. What just happened? The notification was a relief. Jinwoo had baited Taesik into attacking first, triggering the urgent quest he needed. Now, it was his turn. As their daggers clashed in a stalemate, Jinwoo stomped hard on Taesik's foot. The B-rank hunter recoiled in startled pain, and in that split second, Jinwoo activated dash. He became a blur, closing the distance and driving his dagger into Taesik's thigh. The drain debuff took effect, and Taesik's health began to tick down. But the experienced hunter fought on, blocking Jinwoo's attacks despite his injury. Their speeds were matched. To break the deadlock, Jinwoo focused his energy and met Taesik's gaze. Skill. Murderous intent has been activated. Debuff. Panic has been activated. All of the opponent's abilities will decrease by 50% for 1 minute. Taesik's movements turned sluggish, as if he were moving underwater. Seizing the opening, Jinwoo charged in, accepting a shallow cut to his cheek to get within range. He drove his dagger deep into Taesik's chest. The fight was over. As Taesik fell, he whispered his final words, revealing he had tied up the prisoner for a slow death. Jinwoo listened, then removed the dagger, letting the body drop. Ping. You have completed urgent quest. Defeat the enemies. Rewards have been delivered. The reward was only 5 ability points, less than he expected. But then, a glow from Taesik's corpse caught his eye. He reached for it, his heart leaping. You have discovered Runestone, Stealth. Would you like to acquire it? A Runestone, the incredibly rare stealth skill. Without a second thought, Jinwoo acquired it and crushed the stone in his hand. Red light swirled around him and seeped into his body. You learned skill. Stealth. He immediately tested it, vanishing from sight. But just seconds later, the skill deactivated. Skill. Stealth was deactivated due to lack of mana. He checked the skill details. 200 mana to activate, and 10 mana drained every second. With his low intelligence stat, he only had enough for half a minute of use. It was a powerful, but severely limited tool for now. He headed for the boss chamber. He found the bound prisoner Taesik had mentioned. Without a word, Jinwoo gagged the screaming man and dragged him into the hobgoblin lair, using him as bait to distract the minions. With the monsters occupied, he activated Dash and beheaded the boss hobgoblin in a single clean strike. You have defeated the master of the dungeon. You have leveled up. He cleared the remaining hobgoblins, leveling up once more. As the dungeon began to rumble, signaling its imminent closure, Jinwoo took one last look around. He had gained 2 levels, a new, rare skill, and a grim satisfaction. Jinwoo stepped from the closing gate just as the surveillance team was arriving, their faces somber as he confirmed the devastating toll. Of the 9 hunters who entered, only 3 had survived. An association employee quickly briefed them. The mastermind had confessed, the president of Jumrong Industries, who had hired Taesik to avenge his daughter. The motive was clear. Their own actions were legally justified as self-defense. But one pressing question cut through the formalities. Who killed Taesik Kang, a B-rank hunter? A team member asked, his tone demanding an answer. Just as Jinwoo prepared to speak, to unveil the truth of his reawakening, a calm voice interceded. I did it. All eyes turned to Cheol's song. The declaration seemed impossible, a one-armed C-rank hunter defeating a B-ranker, but Cheol's gaze never wavered. He simply gestured toward Juhi. Don't you see who was with me? The implication was masterful. With the support of a fellow B-rank hunter, even a healer, the feat became plausible. The team accepted the story, the logic satisfying their need for an explanation, and Cheol departed with them to finalize the report. In a quiet moment, Jinwoo approached the veteran. Why did you lie for me? Cheol met his gaze, his voice low and steady. I thought you had your reasons for staying in the shadows. Was I overstepping? Not at all, Jinwoo replied, the weight of the older hunter's protection settling on him. It was a debt he wouldn't forget. Later, under the glow of streetlights, a different tension hung in the air. Jinwoo walked with Juhi, the silence between them filled with unspoken thoughts. The easy comfort they once shared was gone, replaced by the palpable, formidable energy that now radiated from him. She stopped, her hand slightly unsteady as she offered him the E-rank essence stone from the temple. I should return this. I don't think I can keep our dinner plans. Jinwoo understood. The horrors of the dungeon had finally claimed another victim. You don't have to do that, he said, his voice gentle. I'm going back my hometown next week, she confessed. Her decision to leave Seoul, and her life as a hunter, laid bare. She looked at him then. Truly looked, her eyes tracing the unyielding resolve in his. It was the same fierce will that had been their salvation in the temple, now magnified and terrifying. Her heart beat a frantic rhythm, a confusing mix of fear and longing. But she buried the words she truly wanted to say behind a bright, fragile smile. If you're ever in Busan, give me a call. I'll treat you to the best sashimi. Sounds good, he replied, a soft smile touching his own lips. With a final, unspoken farewell, Juhi turned and walked away. Jinwoo watched her go, standing alone on the path home. One chapter had ended. But his true journey, the relentless climb to power, was now truly his to walk. His new phone had finally arrived. While waiting for the elevator, he powered it on. The screen lit up with a flood of notifications. He dialed the number that had called him incessantly. A pop song blared through the speaker for a moment, before the line connected. Hello? It's me, Jinwoo said, a slight chuckle in his voice. He'd already guessed. You can call this number from now on. Oh, you finally got your cell, boss. Jinho's excited voice confirmed it. I was about to call you. I have all the squad members now, so I'll pick you up tomorrow. Jinwoo grinned, picturing the young man's eager face. Great. See you tomorrow. As he hung up, the elevator arrived with a soft ding. Finally, a raid was scheduled. Jinwoo's heart beat with anticipation. Late at night on the U.S. East Coast, Dongsu Huang, a main S-rank hunter for the powerful scavenger guild, received a devastating call. His brother Dong Suk was dead. killed in a C-rank gate. The details made no sense. His 8 squad members were killed, and the other 2 survived. Dong-su's voice was dangerously calm. The survivors were a D-ranker and an E-ranker. His brother would never have sacrificed himself for temporary hires. This wasn't a dungeon accident. It was an execution. The brother who had always protected him was gone, murdered before Dong-su could bring him to America. Rage, cold and sharp, began to replace his grief. "Fax me the info on the 2 survivors," he ordered, hanging up and immediately calling his manager, Laura. "Laura, what happens if I kill someone in South Korea?" After a brief, stunned silence, she outlined the legal technicalities. As a U.S. citizen, he would be tried in America. The guild could likely negotiate a reduced sentence. It was a green light. "Clear my schedule. I'm going to Korea. Tell upper management it's a bereavement trip for my brother's funeral." He hung up, cutting off her condolences. He wasn't interested. The fax machine hummed, printing the profiles of the 2 hunters. Dong-su studied the documents and photos. D-rank Jinho Yu and E-rank Jinwoo Sung. His resolve solidified into a cold, murderous certainty. These 2 held the answers. "I can probably get some answers from these 2, he muttered, his gaze burning into their pictures. And if his suspicions were confirmed, they'll regret coming out of that dungeon alive. And so, a new and terrifying threat is born. An S-rank hunter, one of the most powerful individuals in the world, now has Jinwoo and Jinho in his crosshairs. Driven by vengeance for his brother's death, Dong-su Huang is coming to Korea." The next morning, Jinwoo left his apartment to find a massive, brand-new van blocking the entrance. The window rolled down to reveal Jinho's grinning face. "Your chariot awaits, boss." Shaking his head, Jinwoo got in. Soon, they arrived at a vacant lot where a C-rank gate shimmered. Waiting for them was the most pathetic raid party Jinwoo had ever seen. A man with a cast, a tired-looking older man, and a bored-looking high school girl, among others. Jinho puffed out his chest. "My name is Jinho Yu, Hunter Sung Jinwoo, and I will clear the dungeon. You just have to wait here." One hunter spoke up, uneasy. "We really get paid 3 million won just for standing here?" "The terms haven't changed," Jinho said sternly. "But if you break our agreement, the penalty is 10 times what you were paid." Just as they were about to enter, Jinho scurried back to the van. He returned moments later, waddling in a full suit of bulky, ornate steel armor. "For our safety!" His muffled voice came from the helmet. Jinwoo stared in disbelief. He reached over, pulled the sword from Jinho's belt, and dropped it. The top-heavy Jinho immediately lost his balance and crashed to the ground with a loud clang. "Take it off," Jinwoo said, his voice dangerously calm. "Before I say something I'll regret." After a struggle, Jinho was freed from the armor, though he was allowed to keep the helmet. The 2 then entered the gate, leaving the bewildered hunters outside. The hunters immediately began muttering among themselves. "An E-ranker and a D-ranker? This is a suicide mission." They had just started to feel guilty when the gate hummed. Jinwoo and Jinho stepped back out, looking slightly tired but unharmed. "They made it out alive!" one hunter exclaimed in relief. But then another hunter pointed a trembling finger. "Look! The gate! It's closing!" Everyone turned to see the gate dissolving into nothingness. They had cleared it, in mere minutes. As the other hunters stood in stunned silence, Jinwoo turned to Jinho. "Where's the next one?" "About an hour away, boss." "Let's go." As they walked toward the van, Jinho called back to the frozen group. "Come on, everyone. We've got 2 more gates to raid today." The hunters could only watch, their jaws on the ground. The following day, a horde of zombies shambled toward them. "Boss, they're coming!" Jinho called out, his voice tight with nerves. "Got it!" In a blur of motion, Jinwoo became a whirlwind of death. He moved through the rotting crowd with impossible grace, his dagger a silver flash. With every pass, zombie heads hit the ground. "You have leveled up." "Boss, that was amazing!" Jinho applauded, his fear replaced by pure awe. "Essence stones," Jinwoo reminded him, his voice calm. "Oh right, on it." Jinho scrambled forward with his bag, but then more chimes echoed in Jinwoo's mind. "You learned skill, Advanced Dagger Wielding Level 1. You learned Skill, Fatal Strike Level 1. The level of skill, Dash, has increased. He eagerly pulled up his status screen to inspect the rewards. His dash skill had improved to level 2, boosting his speed increase from 30% to a significant 40%. But the two new additions were the real prizes. Advanced Dagger Wielding was a passive skill that increased his damage with daggers by 33%. Perfect, since he had no plans to abandon Kasaka's Venom Fang anytime soon. The final skill, however, made his heart beat faster. Fatal Strike. It was the same instinctual feeling he'd had when finishing off Tasik, the innate knowledge of exactly where to strike to end a fight. He'd leveled up and gained powerful new tools. This was, without a doubt, the best start to a day he could have asked for. By the second day, Jinwoo had become a force of nature. With his new Fatal Strike skill, he moved through the dungeon like a ghost, each flick of his dagger felling another magic beast. Ping! You have leveled up. Jinho could only watch with his mouth hanging open. Monsters dropped left and right. Was there no limit to the boss's power? He was dying to know Jinwoo's true rank. He had to be at least a B ranker, but he valued his life too much to ask. However, such overwhelming power came with a cost. A familiar, frustrating chime echoed in Jinwoo's mind. You cannot use the skill because you do not have enough mana. Again? Jinwoo frowned, retrieving a small blue potion from his inventory and drinking it. Boss? What is that? Jinho asked, his curiosity overriding his caution. Jinwoo glanced at the system description, which clearly stated the item couldn't be transferred. But what did that actually mean? His scientific curiosity was piqued. He handed the vial to Jinho, and it promptly vanished from his assistant's hand. Is this magic, boss? So that was it. Non-transferable meant it literally couldn't be given away. But what if he didn't hand it over? A new idea formed. He accessed the shop and purchased a different potion, this one a vibrant red healing elixir, which materialized in his palm. B-boss, that's amazing. The liquid changed color. Jinho gasped, thinking it was some incredible trick. Open your mouth and look up, Jinwoo instructed. Like this? Perfect. Don't move. Jinwoo tilted the bottle, pouring the red liquid directly down Jinho's throat. A surge of energy instantly washed through Jinho. The fatigue from hauling the heavy bag of essence stones vanished, and the color returned to his face. Whoa! What is this? I feel amazing. Jinwoo nodded, satisfied. So it worked. He could administer potions to others. This was valuable intel for future situations. If you get tired, tell me, Jinwoo said, his tone purely practical. A slow butler would slow down the hunt, but Jinho didn't see it that way. He saw a supremely powerful hunter sharing a priceless resource, looking out for his well-being. His eyes shimmered with emotion. Boss! He whispered, voice thick with gratitude. Let's go, Jinwoo said, already turning toward the dungeon exit. Meanwhile, in a nearby office of the prestigious White Tiger Guild, the morning calm was shattered by manager Sangmin An's furious voice. Assistant Manager Hyun? The new member training starts tomorrow, and you still haven't secured a C-rank gate? Assistant Manager Kichil Hyun flinched. I'm sorry, sir. There's a strike squad that outbids us on every single gate in the area before we can even make a move. Then pay them more. Are you telling me the White Tiger Guild can't outbid some random strike squad? What is the problem? I tried, sir, but enough! How dare you make excuses? Sangmin's roar silenced the entire second administration team. Kichul, fighting back tears of frustration, thrust his laptop forward. Please, just look at this! Sangmin was ready to yell again, but the number on the screen made his jaw drop. 250 million won? Who are these idiots paying that much for a C-rank gate permit? The maximum profit from a C-rank gate was around 200 million. Paying more was just burning money. The normal price is 70 million. I tried to bid 100 million and they immediately jumped to 250, Kichul explained, exasperated. These crazy bastards, he muttered, initially suspecting a rival guild was messing with them. But that didn't make sense. No one would pick a fight with the White Tiger Guild so blatantly. His curiosity turned to suspicion. He checked the squad's roster. The leader was a Jinho Yu. Never heard of him, Sangmin grumbled. As the recruitment manager, he knew every noteworthy freelance hunter. Then he scrolled down and froze. Jinwoo Sung. That name was familiar. Kichul, the double dungeon incident from 2 months ago. The survivor's name. Kichul, whose memory was his greatest asset, answered instantly. Jinwoo Sung, E-rank hunter. I knew it. Sangmin's instinct screamed that something was off. I want every scrap of information on Jinho Yu, a D-ranker, and Jinwoo Sung, the E-ranker, now! The information on Jinho was straightforward. An ordinary hunter, aside from being the second son of Myunghan Yu, the chairman of Yujin Construction. But Jinwoo's file was a different story. He's emerged unscathed from 3 major incidents, including the double dungeon, Kichul confirmed. And he's just an E-ranker. The pieces clicked together in Sangmin's mind. Jinho and Jinwoo had met on Jinho's first raid, which only they survived. Now they were clearing 2 to 3 dungeons a day. And with the rumor that Chairman Yu was trying to form a guild. Wait! Sangmin's eyes widened with revelation. That bastard. He's a reawakened hunter. A reawakened hunter! Kichul looked stunned. It's the only explanation, Sangmin exclaimed, his confidence growing. An E-ranker shouldn't survive what he has. And that incident with Taisik Kang from the surveillance team? The official report says a C-rank mage and a B-rank healer took him down. That's nonsense. A seasoned hunter like Kang would have taken out the healer first. Someone else was there. Someone strong. Sangmin had no proof, but he was certain. Jinwoo Sung had experienced a second awakening and was now a high-rank hunter. Jinho Yu discovered his power and was now testing him for his father's new guild. This was huge. If Jinwoo had defeated a B-rank hunter, he was at least B-rank himself. And right now, barely anyone knew his true value. There's no time to waste, Sangmin declared, grabbing his jacket. Kichul, let's go. Sir? Where are we going? To recruit a new member, Sangmin said coolly, striding out the door. A bewildered Kichul hurried after him. It was the first time the department manager had personally handled a recruitment in 2 years. What happens next? Find out next week.